Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing? Welcome to episode number, we'll call it 182. I think it's 182. Welcome to episode 182 of Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to the third Monday in June. So glad y'all are out here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. So much to talk about tonight. Big Brother, it's right around the corner. So yeah, of course, we're going to talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about my old season. We'll talk about the upcoming season. They're starting to throw a few little hints out there, which mean nothing, but it's got everyone talking. So we'll certainly talk about that and all kinds of other stuff. All right, before we go any further, well, now I got to do this first. SKD143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, love reality TV fans. I love you guys that come out here and sit with me every every Monday night. Watch on replay as well. Welcome to all of y'all. I do appreciate it. And let me show you just how much I appreciate y'all all getting out here and hanging with me every Monday evening. Tonight, my Aggies, my Texas A&M Aggies are playing baseball in the College World Series. I have a huge, huge favor to ask. Remember Banu and Survivor begging and pleading on his knees? I got a favor just like that to ask of y'all. The game is on right now. I'm taping it. Or recording it. I guess you don't tape anymore. I'm recording it. I'm going to watch it after the show. I wouldn't miss the show, but I am trying not to get spoiled. So please, if you got it on the background, if you know what's going on, please don't spoil the scores, results, anything else. I want to be completely fresh when I go in and see it. So again, thank you. Thank you for not putting anything in the comments. It is most appreciated. I'm going to do the show, and then I might have hopefully a fun night watching a little Aggie baseball afterwards. All right, there you go. So there's my little begging and pleasing for y'all. All right, let me see who all's out here, and then we'll talk all kinds of different topics. And there's a lot between fathers, just a lot of stuff going on. Hope y'all all had a fantastic Father's Day. Father's Day. We'll talk about that in a second as well. All right, let's see who was out here. Ma. Before I go any further, Ma, thank you. I had a blast last week. I'm so glad you got to come out here. For those of you who haven't seen last week's show, check it out. Ma and I got to hang and talk a little bit. And now I'm thinking already about the return visit. We got to have Ma back with her French horn so we can listen to her play Cheeseburger in Paradise and a few other songs as well. Some she knows, some she's just going to have to play as best she can. Yeah, Ma, we're getting you back. So just start preparing for it. But now I had fun talking to Ma. So Ma, I'm glad to see you out there again this evening. Ryan51, Ryan, how are you doing? Colleen as well. Hi, Colleen, how are you? Brian Hosseller. Brian, how are you, sir? Amanda as well. Mark Taylor. When does the challenge start again? I don't know, Mark. I haven't kept track of the challenge here for a while. I probably need to, but hey, it's Big Brother season. I'm not real sure when that thing is starting up. Marilyn Sutherland as well. Marilyn, how are you? My friend Karen Loveland. Let's see. Kennedy Franken. Kennedy, how are you doing? A happy belated Father's Day to you as well. Jake the Horror Movie Geek. Karen Berkey. Cass Wash. So nice. You say it twice. Ed Brewer as well. Patricia Miller. Let's see who else we've got out here. Cindy Heyer. I have to only list. I can't see anything right now. I got my eyes dilated. Oh, well, Cindy, good for you that I got an incredibly loud voice. You could probably be on the other side of the room, and I think you'll be able to hear me just fine. Sorry about your eyes. I hope they had no fun getting your eyes dilated. It used to drive me crazy when I used to do that. So I hope your eyes get to feel a little bit better here a little bit later. Michael Flattery as well. Michael, how are you? Let's see who else. Desiree Watts. Desiree, how are you, my friend? Anoe is out there. Anoe, howdy. And who else do we have out here? That may be Laura Lewis. Hey, Laura, how are you? And I think that may be about it. JD Glad. All right, JD, I wasn't going to leave you out. And Wyatt Garrett as well. Why? I sure can't leave you. Terry Thomas, I keep saying these names. Prince Slime 3. Prince Slime. Welcome. Not just Prince Slime 3. Welcome. All right. I think that's about it. I think I pretty much got it right. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Hope you had a fantastic Father's Day. I had a blast. I got to see my daughter and son-in-law. Son's over in Austin. Talked to him a lot. We went and ate Vietnamese food as a little Father's Day celebration. Is Vietnamese food a thing in other parts of the country? Here in Houston, we've got a pretty big Vietnamese population, and so to go get a little pho soup. So good. Put a lot of spice in there so it's nice and spicy and it's just fantastic. It's like chicken noodle soup up an exponential level. If you've never had pho before, try it. But I had that for Father's Day. Had a blast. It just made me really remind me of what's important in the world. So I hope y'all got time. I hope y'all got time to spend time with families as well. That's what it's all about. But had great Father's Day, and now I'm ready to talk a little reality TV. All right, a few questions before we go any further into a lot of different things. Colleen is saying that pig picture is killing me. All right, have I got a little story for you guys? For those of you who don't know what Colleen's talking about, if you go out to the teaser for StreamYard for the YouTube live show, the picture of me and a scary looking pig, mean old looking feral hog. We've got a lot of problems with hogs here in Texas. Not this one. I'm talking about the other ones. We got a lot of wild hogs just taking over the lands here in Texas, and they cause all kinds of damage. They used to get into our neighborhood. They'd get into our neighborhood. They'd root up all the grass, the lawn, looking for bugs. Not so much anymore. They're mainly out in the country. Well, unfortunately, last Friday night, Sharon and I are driving out in the middle of nowhere. It's after dark, just driving along, minding my own business, watching out for deer, because you don't ever want deer jumping in front of you. I didn't count on a pig jumping in front of me, a hog. Before I know it, here comes this big old hog running from one side of the road to the other, right in front of our car. I had just a little bit of time to swerve to the right so I didn't hit the pig head on. I rolled it up onto the windshield. I didn't hit it head on, but I did hit it on the left side of my bumper. It's like hitting a sack of bricks, a sack of sand. Boom, hit it. It's like, oh, geez. I pull off to the side of the road, quickly get out, check the car. I can't see any damage at the time. It looks like it's okay. So at that point, then I walk back down the road to see if I can find this hog, because you don't want the hog laying out in the road. One, you don't want to suffer. Two, you don't want someone else coming along and hitting it a little bit later. So I felt like it was my duty to see how this hog was doing. He was gone. The car is no match for this hog. Now, they're not gigantic. They have hogs here that 700, 800 pounds. They're like cows, some of these things. You don't want to run into one of those things, car or otherwise. Fortunately, we didn't have this was the size of, we'll say, a big dog, a really big dog. So that means it was kind of a juvenile pig. Man, it still didn't feel like it. So I looked everywhere, couldn't find his pigs. All right, so hopefully it skittered on away, I guess. So we drove a little bit further down the road. I checked the next day. I actually did have some damage to the car. It cracked some skirting around the bumper, and one of the headlights is a little messed up where it got pushed in just from the impact of this thing. So I get to it screwed up my tire. I had to replace my tires today because it actually managed to do some damage to that where it pushed in the bumper. So yeah, wasn't that fun? So yeah, I did that. Drove back by the next day. Still no pig. Still no buzzards up in the air, which normally you see when you've got some an animal that's died off the side of the road. So I guess the car didn't face him at all. But that was my adventure, facing down the hogs. I've dealt with squirrels. I've dealt with killer bees here in the neighborhood. Now I'm having to deal with hogs that are trying to chase me down. Got our attention. I tell you, I was wide awake for the rest of that drive. That's scary. They're kind of low to the ground, so at least it didn't pop up into the windshield or something, but still a little scary. So there's the story behind the hog in the picture. Me and the hogs of Texas aren't on best terms just yet. I'm sure we'll get better later. They're scary. I was walking our dog once out at a state park out in the middle of nowhere, and didn't realize that there were a lot of these hogs in the middle of this field of growing weeds and everything that were resting. And all of a sudden, these things pop up, 5 or 6 of these hogs. Fortunately, they didn't charge us. My dog would have fought a lot of them, but dog and I both probably wouldn't have done so hot against those. Fortunately, they ran off the other direction. Not messing with them. They got big old long teeth. They got tusks. I'm not messing with these pigs. So there you go. A lot more story than you probably wanted on the hogs, but Yeah, that was my excitement for the weekend. All right, let's see some other stories, comments, questions that we got. Mark Taylor, when do they pull the participants for Big Brother this year? Here's the thing, Mark. We don't really know. I think I've said before that the show is premiering what 17th and 18th and 19th. I can't even remember exactly when it is, but around that period of time. I think even though COVID maybe isn't as big a concern as it used to be, they still don't want anyone going in there uh, with COVID or any other kind of flu or virus or anything else. So I have a feeling that they'll give when they pulled us in. That was like 8-9 days that I was locked away in sequester before the show. I think they go a little bit more than that nowadays, which makes me think that they'll probably let everyone have the 4th of July to hang out with the family, to do whatever, and then they may grab them right afterwards because the people that are out filming all the shots and everything, they don't want to have their 4th of July disrupted either. So I have a feeling they'll probably film everyone right after that, get them all over to Hollywood or Burbank where it's filmed and do it then. So that's my guess. I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone with production this year, but I'm guessing that they'll have the 4th of July. And then after that, they'll get grabbed. They'll get taken there. It was so weird. I've told y'all last week that I was so happy I got to see the end of the NBA finals right before they drugged me over to my sequester spot. And then once we're in there, once you're in sequester, there is no going outside for anything. No going to restaurants, no talking to family, no watching anything on TV, complete radio silence from that point on. They had DVDs that we could watch all the different shows. I binge watched multiple seasons of Mad Men while I was in there. My son had given me a book on game theory. I read that thinking, all right, this will help me figure out how to play the game. It did help, but Big Brother's just such a strategic game. And I was upset because they didn't have the Hunger Games and they didn't have past seasons of Big Brother. I really went in thinking, all right, I'm a week and a half of sequester. I'm going to watch Hunger Games and former other Big Brother episodes, seasons. Nah, I didn't get either one of those. So watched a lot of Mad Men. They had 2 musicals. They had the 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, and they had Mamma Mia. And so those were the 2 things that I could play and have music going, and I tried to work out with it. So I feel so bad for the people that were around me that had to listen to me doing jumping jacks and jumping up and down and everything during those 2 musicals. Every once in a while, I'd request Mamma Mia, and they'd say, sorry, someone else checked it out. When I finally got in the house, one of my first questions after we met everyone was, all right, who was watching Mamma Mia? Well, Nicole and Tommy Bracco. It makes sense now, right? I mean, right then and there, I should have known that Nicole and I were going to jive, and that Tommy, I should have known that we should just work together the whole time. But yeah, it's a long time wait because you're so excited. Yeah, here's your moment. You know that within just a week and a half, cameras are going to be on you. Millions of people are going to be watching. In my case, I was like, oh God, I don't want to go home on the first day. Thinking, can I maybe win this thing? And who am I going up against? Your mind is just spinning. You can't concentrate at all. And you get that for a week and a half. Incredible. I'm so excited for the people that get to do this. They're going to have hopefully have the time of their lives. And we'll be watching and judging and criticizing. And it's funny, we don't know any of them right now. And a month from now, we're going to know everything about every one of them, good or bad, it seems like. It doesn't take long to figure out. I'm so looking forward to the cast reveal. So, yeah, I think they're probably not grabbed into sequester just yet. They got a few more weeks, and then it's going to happen. All right, let's see what else we've got going on in here. Patricia Miller is saying, just a month ago until the season of Big Brother, so excited. Woo! Me too. I am so excited. And Terry Thomas saying, Big Brother about to start. Yeah, it's that even though it's later than my season when we started around the 23rd or so, it's still. I'm glad they're not waiting until August. Brian Hostetter saying not everything is as it seems this summer. Huh? What are you getting at, Brian? What possibly could you be hinting at? I don't know. I've seen some of the teasers with the new logo, which is a little different than the old logo, and them teasing that not everything is as it seems. The Circle, they brought in an AI as one of the players. I don't know how you could do that in Big Brother, but what if you had a solitary, a 17th voter. Wouldn't that be interesting? A 17th voter, Chat GPT voter playing Big Brother. You can't vote out the AI, but this AI is going to make a vote every week based on what it thinks is going to benefit the game the most, or AI is going to make a vote based on what if they said, all right, everyone go into Big Brother, OTEV, Zingbot, Chat GPT, give us your comments, let us know what you're thinking. And you got some AI personality that gathers all the comments and uses that to try to play the game representing America somehow. I don't know. That would be interesting. The only thing I'd worry about is everyone's immediately, if it doesn't go the way they want it to, would be saying, it's not really AI, it's the producers. This is their way to make sure their favorites get a little bit further. And people would be claiming the whole thing was rigged no matter what, if you had something like that. But it would be kind of cool to see how people had to deal with maybe having AI as an extra voter. Would the AI vote unanimously with the rest of the house, or would they be the hinky vote every once in a while just to stir things up? You can have fun with it. You can have a lot of fun with it. And I'm probably reading a lot more into it than I should, but hey, you never know. All right, let's talk about something else before I get back to the comments. Have y'all seen the Big Brother Canada was put on as one of the former house guests would say, Yatis. It was put on Yatis. It's put on hiatus. And then we saw that they were actually, looks like, pulling out the set and everything, taking down the Big Brother House Canada, which is suggesting that Big Brother Canada may not be here again. It may be gone. They may have canceled it without actually saying it's canceled. Now, Big Brother Australia did that. And then after a few years, they brought it back. Big Brother UK did the same thing, right? So it's not that Big Brother Canada will never come back, but it may not be back next year. Who knows? God, they should have left those live feeds on, right? But it is what it is. But here's my thought. And you probably can't do it this season for Big Brother US because it's too quick. But maybe next year for Big Brother. Survivor lets Canadians play Big Brother, right? Or play Survivor, right? Canadians play Survivor along with the Americans. What if we did that for Big Brother? We could let our neighbors to the north come in, play some Big Brother as well, mix it in a little bit. Have, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 Canadian. Probably, you don't want them to be so outnumbered that becomes an issue. But you have 3 or 4 Canadians in there to play the game as well. Now, if you did that, maybe you don't cut that many Americans as well. Maybe you start off with 18 players instead of 16, which seems like a lot. But you could have an extra week or 2 of triple evictions instead of double evictions. You could take that last week when there are only 3 people in the house and it just drags out. Really, you could take the last 2 weeks. That week I was in there and there's just 4 of us, was horribly boring. And then the following week is just as boring. You could take all of that and combine it into just a single week without any problem at all. There's things they could do to shorten up the season, still have it 99 days or so, even if you started off with 18 people. So maybe bring in a few more bring in some Canadians and play that a little bit, do some of that. And maybe while they're at it, they could go ahead and bump it up to $1 million now that they'll have the extra viewers from Canada and the United States. Because really, if you're going to give $1 million to Survivor winners, you need to be giving it to the Big Brother winners as well. So just a thought, just if anyone's listening, maybe bump the prize up and bring a few Canadians in and maybe have a few more evictions throughout the season to get you to the final grand champion. I think it'd be fun. I'd love to say there's no reason you couldn't have the Canadians in there playing the game as well and see how they'd interact. Would you have alliances formed based on nationalities, or are there too many other things that differentiate one person from the other? I just can't help but think you get 1 or 2 alpha bros from the north and 1 or 2 alpha bros from the south. It doesn't matter what flag they're waving. The alpha guys are going to hang out together and form an alliance. The women are going to try to form an alliance, and whether they're all American, all Canadian, or somewhere in between, they'll probably still blow up the alliance just based on the way things have gone in the past. But it would be fun to see what the interactions maybe were like and all that. That'd be fun. One of these days, I think it could happen. All right, let's see. JD Glad. Hey, JD, saying Big Brother 26, 1 month away. Woohoo. Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like waiting for Christmas time at this point in time. And then Mark saying, If you could do one thing different to win Big Brother, what will it be? All right, let's talk about that. And then last week there was also a question. I didn't get a chance to pursue this. I don't know if you're out there, YTC JC Star, but if you are 1015, if you are YTC JC Star, it said, watched all of your season last night. What went through your mind when you took a showmance to final instead of keeping Tommy? And do you think you would have gone to the end? All right, first of all, let me talk about that, YTC, and then we'll talk about your question, Mark. As far as the Tommy versus Holly, it was hard. There wasn't an easy decision to make. Yeah, I absolutely understood that taking a showmance is always dangerous. If it'd been Mickey on the block instead of Holly, he would have been gone. Well, we would have sent Mickey out the door. He was too dangerous and too much of a threat to win that game. So it wasn't the showmance. It was which person of that showmance we were going to have to send out the door. And the issue was that Nicole and I really thought that Holly as a third to our two was the best final three that we could have for us to win. What scared me to death, and I think Nicole as well, was the idea that you could end up with a final three of Mickey and Tommy and one of us. Because, well, look at Tommy. Now he's doing Broadway. You see the acrobatics, the flips he's doing, his mental power. He had the dates memorized. He was going around, probably a mistake on his part. He was going around singing songs to himself of all the things that had happened. Every vote, every competition, what day it was on. He had created his own song with all the information, and he sang it quite a bit. So it became obvious that any kind of memory competition, he was going to do fantastic. Strength competition, I knew he was going to do great. So that made it tough. Here's the other thing with Tommy, applying just to me more than even anything else. I knew he would keep Nicole over me. I knew he would keep Holly over me. I wasn't sure if he would keep Mickey over me, but I wasn't 100% convinced that he would keep me over Mickey, because we had seen a lot of things over the 3 or 4 weeks right after that of Mickey and Tommy working together. You know, it's neither one had either put the other one on the block at any point in time, and really they had some side deals to work together, and I wasn't sure how that was going to work. I really felt like Tom, if he stayed, I was low man on the totem pole, would easily be out the door, certainly over Nicole or Holly. So I know a lot of people said, you should have not stuck with the romance. I get it. The showmance, I get it absolutely. But it's because we were playing to win the thing, not playing just to try to get to second and third place, but trying to win the whole thing. And I really thought if it was Tommy and Mickey and Nicole and myself, that I was a short man on that list for everyone except for Nicole, that I'd be getting sent out the door. So it just didn't quite make sense. And I stand by that. I mean, hindsight 2020 and all that, but I stand by that. Here's what I'll tell you, Mark, because I've thought about this. There's other times during the double eviction, I thought long and hard about, because I won the veto, I thought long and hard about pulling Christy off the block and then letting Nicole put up either Mickey or Holly. And then Christy would have voted to save Tommy. Mickey or Holly, whichever one was not on the block, would have voted to save the other one. Nicole didn't vote. I would have had the complete say on who went home that week. And so if I had pulled Christy off the block, if Nicole had put up Holly to go up against Tommy, I would have voted to send Tommy out the door. If she had put up Mickey to go up against Tommy, I would have picked Mickey to go out the door. Either way, it would have been my vote at the end. Once I'd done that, I would have then been able to approach Christy and say, look, I'm the only person in this whole house, except maybe Tommy, but he didn't have a say. I'm the only other person that had any care about saving you, that wanted to keep you in the house. And I would have used that as a little bit of leverage and tried to work something, and would have convinced them that was Nicole and I's plan the whole time, was to send Mickey out the door, for example. I've thought about it, and maybe we could have made it work, but I really think, I don't know. I don't know how that will work. Let me throw one more out at you, Mark, that people don't think of as much. And it's really maybe where I would have considered the biggest move that I didn't make. And that was back the very last pre-jury. It came down to Kat and Sam. One or the other's going home. Do y'all remember that? That's the episode that Julie Chen apparently came on and said, they're still arguing. The show has started. They're still in there arguing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's going home. We don't know anything. Everyone's yelling back and forth and trying to figure out what's going on. Eventually, all the other alliance came together and said, yeah, we've got to send Sam out the door. I think Tommy's the main one who was behind that. Said, yeah, why are we doing all this? Just send Sam out the door. Kat's kind of with us, so let's do it that way. And it was such a quick and a rush decision that I just kind of went along with it also. But I had talked to Nicole probably 15 minutes before that decision came down and said, I kind of feel like as emotional as Kat can be, as back and forth as it seems like she's going, we don't really know that we can trust her. We know that Sam, if it's Sam and Nick, that they probably are going to work with us at least short term, because they're going to feel like outsiders after this point. And so we had more or less decided that if it came down to our 2 votes, we were going to send Kat home. Nothing against Kat, but send Kat home and keep Sam. That was our thinking, until suddenly Tommy and Christy and them come in saying that we're keeping Kat, we're sending Sam out the door. And we quickly counted the votes and said, our 2 votes aren't going to matter if it's been decided. So I do feel like if I'd had more time, I maybe could have pushed a little bit and convinced a few people that it was better to keep Sam. Jessica and Sam did not get along. I wasn't sure that I could convince her to do it, but I may have tried it if I had a little more time to hold on to Sam and keep the outsiders a little bit stronger. If I'd had more time, if I'd done that and Kat had gone home at that point in time, who knows what would have happened. I feel bad saying that since she was part of Cliff's Angels and all of that, but I did feel like Sam maybe would be a little more solid for our side. We'll never know. And it worked out decently well. But that, as I look back at everything, Mark, that may be the one thing, is that Kat versus Sam vote that I think the most about how could that have changed the game if we'd done it. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Karen Loveland saying, what's the crowd behind you? Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that. And then Wyatt Garrett saying, going to see Tracy Byrd, Neil McCoy, and Tracy Lawrence at WinStar in Oklahoma on Friday. Oh, that's pretty good. I can't remember if I've seen Tracy Byrd or Tracy Lawrence. I've seen Neil McCoy, seen him a couple of times, in fact, at the Houston Rodeo. He put on a good show. Have fun with that. All right, so behind me, it's not just baseball that had Aggieland excited over this past weekend. If you can see, rather large group of people in Kyle Field, which is Texas A&M's football stadium. But Saturday night, they didn't have football there. No, they had a concert. Several performers, Parker McCollum, but the main one was George Strait, king of country music. He's who I had for my album choice when I won HOH while I was in the house. George Strait played Saturday night at Kyle Field. They had, I think, 111,000 people attending this thing. It's supposedly the largest concert attendance in the United States or in the United States since the Grateful Dead back in the 70s. I've heard both things said, but a whole heck of a lot of people, because not only do you have the regular football stadium, but you got all the people there on the floor as well. A lot of folks that went to see George Strait. I looked at the tickets. By the time I thought about it and looked at them, the cheapest tickets were $500-600. I was like, yeah, I think I'll buy some of those albums instead. They'll pay for a lot of Spotify, a lot of George Strait music. We've seen them a few times, Sharon and I. We saw him out in Midland in just a little bitty horse arena that was fantastic. He and Pam Tillis played one of the most amazing concerts I've ever seen. We saw him at the a couple of times here in Houston, the old Astrodome, and then at the new NRG. I think he closed out the Astrodome, and we saw that concert. What was really fun is we were sitting there watching the concert on, I think, the second row, not even the first row, but on the second row, down low on the floor, George Bush, senior George Bush, H.W. Bush, was watching the concert with Barbara Bush, and I think he had a few of his kids with him and all, but they were watching George Strait from down low. What was great is he had a big old bag of popcorn, and he was eating that popcorn. After a while, he turned around, he started handing the popcorn just to random people around him. I was like, you want some popcorn? I got lots. You want some popcorn? And so this whole little section was eating popcorn. it was great. He lived here in Houston. I saw him at several baseball games and such over the years. His museum is now at Texas A&M, so he kind of really adopted A&M. Went to Harvard, I think, but spent a lot of time at A&M as well. But yeah, so George Strait playing, and people loved it, had a blast. The week before that, they had Mexico versus Brazil play a soccer game in Kyle Field as well, and they had a lot of people in that one too. Let's talk about World Cup one of these days. It's going to be horrible. World Cup and Big Brother at the same time. It's going to be a tough one. But anyway, yeah, so George Strait was playing. So yeah, a whole lot of people watching George Strait in concert. Aggie baseball was going on at the same time. So yeah, had some divided loyalties with that. All right, let's see. What else do we have going on here? I feel like I'm just going on and on here. Tim Pipe is saying, when will they bring Cliff back on Big Brother? I ask that same question every single day, Tim. It would be fun. I was so excited when I did my season because the very first veto competition, I walk out in the backyard, get ready to compete, and here's KC sitting there watching us do this food fight competition. It's like, oh my God, I guess I am playing Big Brother if she's here. She just won the season before. Now here she is hosting the veto competition. I felt so bad because I did not do well in that competition. I just hard catching this stuff. My contacts were filled with gunk. It was a bad competition. None of us did fantastic. Sam won it and pulled me off the block, which another reason I really thought about keeping Sam when it came down to him versus Cat. But Casey was there, so that was cool. Then the next week, veto competition number 2. One of only 2 veto comps I didn't compete in. God, who was there? Why am I drawing the name? That played with KC and JC and Tyler. Oh, God, I can't remember. Couldn't remember. I think too much about my baseball side. Anyway, he was there hosting. It's great. Tyler was there, and we walk in and say, "Man, y'all look a lot bigger on TV." Like, well, okay, well. Here I am. But yeah, it was cool seeing the former. And then my favorite was Caitlin Herman when she showed up when we did the haunting of Caitlin Herman. And I just so cool meeting her. Such a blast doing it. I would love to go back just to see the smiles, the passion, the fun on everyone's faces, playing the events and everything else, just to wave at them and say howdy and be back in that backyard. Now, I'd love to go back and play the game. Don't get me wrong, but if they just want to bring me back and heck, do like Ovi, I'll bring me back and I'll hand out Dr. Peppers or cookies or something. Or you remember Brent and some of the others had the loud, different people, the little old granny that followed him around, and we had during my season Marvin, the very abrasive Martian that followed Jack around. Brent, and then they had Rachel and Mr. Spectacular have taken that role. Bring me back. I got kind of a loud voice. I was overheard yelling, and not yelling, but I was overheard in the room. Bring me back and make some poor sucker have to walk around with me for 24 hours. And no matter where they go, I'll just talk at the top of my lungs. Hey, are you enjoying the game? How's this? Who's your allies? Who are you going to work? Who are you voting out? And just be loud and abrasive and obnoxious. And yeah, we could have, I could play the bit well. I certainly can be loud and obnoxious when I want to be, when it benefits me. We'd have fun with that. And I'd wear all my Aggie gear, and that by itself would irritate people as well, and make them wear cowboy hats the whole time. And I don't know. Yeah, we can have fun. So yeah, CBS, call me. I'm ready. All I got to do is book my ticket, and I'll be on over there. The phone call, alas, has not come just yet. But hey, the season's just starting, so we'll see. All right. I'd love to. It'd be so much fun to go back. All right. Ma is saying in Celebrity Big Brother, they had a fake house guest twist. I'm trying to remember that. Remember Scaramucci? He was there for Loani, he's gone. I don't think he was ever intent on being there too long. Colleen is saying, I'm against the whole AI thing. As part of Big Brother or just life in general? Are you a little more thinking Schwarzenegger and the Terminator and Sarah Connor? Well, I need Sarah Connor. That's the best you're gonna get from me but yeah, that AI is kind of weird. They keep talking about this, was it singularity or whatever, when you can't tell the difference between and all that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to think. I feel like AI is going to create a whole lot of things. There's a comedian, I wish I could remember his name, and he talks about saying, why in the world we're the humans, we're the dominant species on this planet, right? Yeah, there's no one, there's no one that can beat us on this planet. It's only us beating ourselves that's ever going to be the issue. So let's just make it a little bit more exciting by creating some kind of something that theoretically could get smarter than us and take us all out because they're tired of us infesting the planet. Yeah, that's a smart choice. Yeah, leave it to the nerds of the world to create some software that's going to just ruin, take all of us out. We'll see. I don't know. AI is pretty interesting stuff. It's way beyond my stuff. All I know is that theoretically I can go out. I had fun there for a while. I think it was Chat GPT. I could say things like, do a stand-up routine about Cliff Hogg from Big Brother in the style of Jeff Foxworthy or in the style of Sam Kinison, and put some comedian in there. And Chat GPT had enough information on me through all the different sites and everything. It would come back and do just these goofy things about, that Cliff Hogg, man, he's so loud and obnoxious, but yeah, nice guy, but you can hear him from next door, and do different little joke routines and everything. It's pretty amazing what AI can do in this day and age. Good thing I didn't have it while I was in school. It's got to be a tough temptation to write those papers and all for you. Someday we'll be doing it and it won't be considered a big deal. All right, Patricia Miller is saying, just finished watching your season. Oh, good. I hope you enjoyed it, and was wondering if you took the owl home and gave it a name. Well, the owl has a name, right? Orwell, the owl from After Dark. And as far as that goes, it's funny, you can't see the green because it's a green bandana. So yeah, he's kind of halfway there. Yeah, welcome to Orwell. I carried Orwell everywhere around with me during my season. It was so funny. Tommy and Christy and Jack and all, they thought that I was somehow some kind of America's player, kind of like Eric Stein, because I carried that owl around everywhere. And they thought, oh, that must be one of his tasks or something. So at one point, they stole an owl. They stuck it in one of the vases up in the HOH room. Just, I don't know, just to screw with me. That's like, really? Even if I was America's player, even if I did have to hold the owl to win 25,000 or something, why are you going to take the freaking owl from me and keep me from winning money? Just seemed kind of mean at the time, but whatever. I realized that Orwell was missing. I looked around for a little while and said, no, I'm going to bed. I wasn't going to lose sleep over it. But eventually I had all the rest of them looking as well, pretending to look so they didn't get caught. So, in a little bit of a way, I guess it backfired on them. Eventually, Tommy told me later how bad they felt, because I told him, I said, look, I'm just carrying the owl around because I know it's the mascot for After Dark, which was on for a couple hours every night back then. I said, I know as long as I'm holding the mascot, it's that much more likely the cameras are going to be pointing at me. And if they're pointing at me, that means I can talk about my family and they'll see me and my family will have a little more time with me. It was all done just for fun, just to be silly. But it was done also as a way to make sure that I got a little more FaceTime with the family and all of that. I was thinking, it's playing to the cameras, maybe a little bit. Certainly knowing the cameras would be focused a little bit more while I held that owl. But they've had this ulterior motive, and they just went on and on. Eventually, towards the end of the season, Tommy all sheepishly came and said, Cliff, I got to tell you something. I feel bad, but I took your owl. I think he thought I was going to yell at him or, hey, you're out of here. I'm going to vote you out of the house, you damn owl thief. It's like, oh, I don't care, Tommy. Whatever. It's just an owl. I think I'll survive. But so then after he realized I wasn't upset, we laughed about it. But then I watched the replays. It's like, yeah, that actually was kind of mean. But whatever. Bygones. It was just part of the game. But yeah, I do have Orwell with me. Not only me, I think we need to get Orwell back in the house. You got to have something in there. So either Orwell or put some of these crazy wild feral hogs from Texas. Let them try to deal with some hogs in the backyard. Not this type, but the mean ones. Put them out in the backyard, see how they do if they have to spend the night out there or something. That could be kind of fun. All right, let's see what else. Ma is saying he's Orwell. Yeah, thank you, Ma. He is Orwell because of George Orwell. Spot on. One of my favorite books. If you haven't read 1984, you need to. Everyone has a responsibility to read 1984 and Animal Farm, both by George Orwell. Incredible books. Just let you think about what could be if people aren't paying attention to what's going on around them. But yes, so George Orwell wrote all about Big Brother is watching you. That's where the name for the show came from. And so, yeah, so then Orwell, the owl. When I tried out for the show, at one point during the finals casting, they had all of us together in a room because we had to go meet the CBS producers one at a time. But we all sat there. We weren't allowed to talk. You just had to sit there until it was your turn. There was one person up at the very front of the room. She was reading. She looked kind of mean. It's probably a good thing she didn't get in the house. I think she would have kicked my rear end. But she was reading 1984, the book. And I felt like that was just a little too much in that lane or something doing that. It is funny because I've talked to people since then, some who were on the show, some who've reached out and said, hey, I was in that room with you, Cliff, didn't make it on. But yeah, everyone in there was paying attention to everything that was going on in that room. Who was reading what magazines, because they handed out magazines. Who was reading what magazines? Who was eating what candy? Who was laughing when someone, one of the main people told a joke, our host and all that. Everyone's paying attention to everything, trying to get an edge on everyone else. At one point in time, they said, does anyone need to go to the bathroom? Yeah, sure. I just felt like getting up and walking around just so I could look around and see people. I remember walking because I was wearing my boots thinking, okay, do I walk with kind of a soft step so I don't really stand out, or do I really play it up with these boots? And I ended up really playing it up. So when I walked, I kind of put a little more pressure down, a little more slap every time I put those boots down. So instead of just walk, those boots are clomp, 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 clomp as I'm walking up to the front of the room. So everyone knows I'm wearing boots. I've got my hat on, and there was a lot of gameplay and mental gymnastics going on well before anyone was cast on that show. Now, just as an FYI, that particular little finals thing, there were a few other people. Ovi was in there. Christy was in there. Jackson Mickey was in there. Who else? Kimmy was in there. I think that may be it. I don't remember if there's anyone else. But yeah, there were some of us in there. That was the first time I saw them. Was once or twice during that week. So yeah, who knew that I'd know all of them that well now. So there you go. All right. Karen Hummer saying, did they send you food from service when you were sequestered? You got to pick. I'm trying to remember. You had menu choices when we were in sequester, and I can't go into huge detail. I don't want to talk specifics on it, but you'd get menus. Say, do you want pizza? Do you want burgers and things like that? And I feel like we had like almost a per diem, so much to spend. And they'd say, here's, all of your options. So spend within your limits, but pick what you want. So we had that. And it was the same way then after sequester, or after I got booted that 6 days while I was waiting for the finals. Same kind of deal. You kind of got to pick your meal to a certain extent. The day I actually got booted, while they're driving me to the sequester spot, right after I did my interview with Julie Chen and left the studio, I asked the person that was with me, I said, hey, I know I'm going to sequester. Could y'all just stop at a McDonald's and get something first? And they said, well, we can't do that, Cliff. We got to get you to your sequester spot. But once you're there, someone else can bring you some McDonald's. Okay, well, yeah, bring me some McDonald's. And so they called me a little bit later, or they stopped by me and said, so what do you want from McDonald's, Cliff? I said, yeah, I want everything. Give me chicken nuggets, give me a fillet of fish, give me a hamburger, give me a chocolate milkshake, give me a big old thing of Dr. Pepper. I definitely want fries. I want a little bit of everything that they got there, because I haven't eaten anything except what's in that house for the last 3.5 months. I said, okay, Cliff, well, we got you. And sure enough, they came in with several bags worth of food, put it in the refrigerator, ate it for the next day or two, and still would have rather been in the house. But at least I got to celebrate in my own kind of unique way that I was finally free from the cameras. And so I ate a lot of McDonald's for the next couple of days, and I watched a whole heck of a lot of Mad Men when I got them. I wasn't in the mood for musicals after getting booted from the house. I just watched Mad Men and watched them betray each other and compared it to what I'd gone through in the house. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Uh, let's see. Colleen is saying, I love Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Yeah, it's one of my wife's favorite. I'll put it somewhere in the middle. It's probably not the one I'd go out my way to watch over and over again. But hey, it had music, it had dancing, and so yeah, it was fine with me. Uh, and then we got let's see. There's something else. While I'm thinking of that, movies and all that, I got some hits for y'all. I've had some hit or misses on things I've watched. We watched two things over the weekend, two little binge shows in between some Aggie baseball that I fully am going to recommend for all of y'all. The first one, if you have not seen yet, The Hitman, I think it's on Netflix. Pretty sure. If you haven't seen The Hitman, watch it. It's really good. It's somewhat based on a true story about a guy who basically plays a hitman for the police department. And I don't want to go into any more detail than that. It's a little bit of a comedy. It's kind of got some humor to it, but it's also based on a true story about this guy getting caught up in all of this and everything. Top notch. Enjoyed every bit of it. We watched that. The other thing that we watched over the weekend, if you haven't seen it, is on Netflix, The Lincoln Lawyer. Not the movie with Matthew McConaughey, and nothing wrong with that movie. I mean, I think I've seen it before and it was fine, but this is a series. I think it's about 10 episodes. It's actually 2 seasons. We've only watched the first season, but we binge watched the entire first season of The Lincoln Lawyer over the weekend. Great show. It was really a fantastic. I feel like I've watched so many law shows over the years, but it was good. It was a fantastic. It kept us really invested. There were enough twists and everything to keep you wondering. And eventually, they start revealing what's going on. You start finding out more about why certain people have done different things, and then it's all about, well, how are they going to fix it? It was good. It was a really great. We're gonna have to binge watch the second season now. So, if you haven't already done so, The Hitman and The Lincoln Lawyer, fantastic shows. Watch it now because Big Brother's coming up, and then we aren't going to have time for it for any more, right? It's kind of a weird time of the year. We don't have Survivor. We don't have Big Brother Canada. We don't have The Amazing Race. I started watching a little bit more of The Circle. I'm trying to get caught back up on that. I don't know how they do it on The Circle. I just don't know that I would do that well because I just can't do all the emojis and weird, write a rap song. I would be so bad at some of that stuff. I'd do it if they had me on there, but there's no way I could catfish as some of the other people the way some of them do. They'd see me in a heartbeat. But yeah, I'm trying to get caught up on some of that as well. All right, Michelle Moore is saying, "Are you going to watch the Olympics?" Yeah, I'll watch it. There's certain events I enjoy. Well, there's a lot of them. I like the swimming, and I like a lot of them. I just like the sports. I like people competing and showing that you're competing against the best people in the world, and watching some of these people, it's just incredible. So yes, I will be watching. Big Brother will take priority, but I'll have the Olympics on, and I'll be flipping back and forth and watching some of the other events as well. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of the Olympics, winter and summer both. So yeah, I'll be checking it out. All right, Miss Fire saying, who would you want to play? Who would you want to play you in a movie? Oh, I don't know. How about Bill Paxton? Now, I don't think he can play me in a movie anymore because I don't think he's still doing real well health wise, as in rest in peace. I loved it. I loved him in Twisters. I loved him in Aliens. He's just a fun guy to watch. I could see him playing me a little bit. Hey, George Strait. He just played for 110,000 people. I think he's probably pretty well money wise. So if he's just looking for a gig to do, he could play me. That'd be all right. Who else? I don't know. So you can throw Matt Damon in. Yeah, Matt Damon. Yeah, perfect match, right? I don't know. Who knows? It's kind of unknown. I don't know, but yeah, Bill. I don't know why Bill Paxton was my first choice. Maybe just because I like him as a person. Because I'd like whoever played me. I'd like whoever who was playing me to be someone that wouldn't take anything too seriously. That would be able to put a little comedic touch on it. That would be able to, when the chips are absolutely down, when your back's against the wall, and you're getting ready to just get screwed over, you still smile. Yeah, bring it on. You're not gonna, whatever. I don't care. Because I tried to play like that in the game, Big Brother. Sometimes I was more successful than other times, but I never tried to take the game too seriously. I would want an actor who would be the same way. Billy Bob Thornton. Give Billy Bob Thornton in there to play me. That would that'd be okay. That would be that would be a very interesting little episode one of these days if we just have some downtime to talk about, I don't know, everyone from my season or maybe some of the stars from all different seasons. Which actors or actresses would best be suited to play the different people if you were going to do Big Brother the movie? We got to think about it. I can have fun with that. Yeah, y'all give me y'all thoughts. Who do you think should play me if you had Big Brother the I don't know why would they play me in a movie? But if they were doing it, if they said Cliff Hogg, Big Brother, who's going to come in and play the starring role? Who would y'all suggest? I want to check out the comments on that. All right, Desiree Watts. Hey, Desiree, how are you doing? How long are you away? Or how long are diary room sessions, and do you get to drink and go to the restroom? If you need to go to the restroom, I'm sure they would just say, "Yeah, go. It's fine." It's kind of a hassle because when you go in there, you've got to take your microphone off and stick it in a special soundproof box. They had one season. Something happened, someone plugged the wrong wire in somewhere, and someone who was talking in the diary room could be heard on the speakers outside through their little microphone they carried around with them. So after that, now when you go in, you put your battery pack inside this box. That's the first thing you do when they come in and say, Cliff, microphone off in the box. Okay, good. There it is. And then normally you'll sit there for a second and say, okay, Cliff, hold on. We gotta get the focus. So just sit tight. And this little camera, because you don't see a person, it's just a camera in the corner facing you. And so you're sitting there, like, hey, how you doing, guys? And the camera's kind of until it gets the right focus on you. And at that point in time, usually you would have one of the producers say, hey, Cliff, how are you doing? Well, I've had better days. I'm on the block, but yeah. And so, Cliff, this is going to be a little bit longer because we want to ask you all about the veto competition you just did, or we want to get your thoughts on this whole alliance that you just found out about. So we're probably going to be in here for a little while. You ready? Yeah, fine. Other times you'd go in there and they'd say, oh, Cliff, we talked to you for an hour yesterday. And, we love everything you said, but you said one thing and we love the way you said it, but you took about 30 seconds to say it. You had some little extra comments in there. We probably don't need as much. Could you say the same thing, but leave out that whole about Orwell Al? Just talk about the fact how they're playing you or something. And so sometimes you'd repeat some of the things that you said before, a little more concise, just because they were trying to figure out how they want to show it. They never told us what to say. I don't want anyone to think it was ever scripted. That's not the case. But sometimes they would want you to say things a little faster, or they'd say, hey, Cliff, you just kind of threw out there that, oh, I don't think I can trust this. It's like, can you give us a little more detail? Can you expand on that a little bit? Oh, yeah, because. And so sometimes it would be follow up from other diary rooms that we'd done the day before, things like that. But sometimes it was just a whole new deal. Usually we would know because if they call and say, Cliff, can you, it'd be Cliff, please come to the diary room. And you go in there, they'd say, hey, Cliff, it's going to be quick, but can you go put on the shirt that you wore yesterday in the diary room? Okay, well, I know now that y'all want to go back into some of what we talked about yesterday. If they didn't care what you were wearing, then you knew it was a whole new session and maybe it was going to be a little bit longer. BB Comics afterwards took forever because they wanted us to comment on every single BB comic and things like that. So sometimes, and certainly towards the end of the season, it was longer because there were fewer of us. So they needed more content from us. Whereas the first few weeks when there's 16, 15 people in there, they've got everyone in there for 15 minutes at a time to get little sound bites, and then that's it. But as you got towards the end of the season, it lasted longer. To answer your question more specifically, I probably had some diary room sessions that didn't last but 3 minutes. I had others that probably lasted an hour and a half or so. So there you go. Eating, I don't know that I ever went in there with food. If I had, I don't know, they probably would not have wanted it because they want you to look all nice. And I'd always tried to brush my teeth, things like that before I went in. So probably not, unless it was part of the bit. I know Christy, they were giving her a hard time about her eating. And so they actually made her go get some chips and bring them in and eat chips while she's talking. So, yeah, every once in a while. But for me, I never ate while I was in there. I don't remember ever having to go to the bathroom or anything like that. So there you go. All right. Wow. So quick. 7:58. We're about there. Let's see real quick if there's anything else. Johnny saying, what if they had BB the musical? Well, that would, there's probably a good reason that we aren't allowed to sing while we're in the Big Brother house. I'm not sure all of us necessarily carry it. We'd have to rely on Tommy Bracco to carry it to him. Speaking of, for those of you who have not seen it yet, go out on Spotify, look for the Heart of Rock and Roll Broadway cast recording, and they've released the entire musical, all the songs, onto the Spotify. And you can either search that way or search, I think, just for Tommy Bracco, because one of the songs Tommy is the lead singer in, I think it's called Crack Me Up. He plays basically a guy, kind of Richard Simmons looking person. And so he's the person singing this song. He's the star of this song. His name comes first. Check it out on Spotify. I listened to it a few times while we were driving around over the weekend. Now I've got the song kind of stuck in my head. Crack. Yeah, I got the song stuck in my head a little bit. But yeah, it's like, I know a guy who's singing on Broadway. How cool is that? I watched that and I watched him do his dance routine and all that in the show. And I realized that, yeah, probably was a good thing I didn't keep him any longer than I had. Tommy would have won it. If Tommy had made it to the final three, he would have won the final HOH competition. He was just too good. He threw too many at the start of the season. He would have won that. Everyone would have voted for him. Tommy would have won the thing if we didn't vote him out when we did. I know that for about as much of a fact as anyone could ever claim. Incredible guy, though. I'm so happy for him, man. It's so cool listening to him sing on Broadway. So check it out if you haven't done so already. All right, with that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I'll finish up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV fans, especially love you guys out here. One quick little point. Next week, little bit iffy on the show because I have a business commitment that may or may not interfere. I just don't know for certain yet. Y'all know me. I'll do it if at all possible. But when work calls, you got to take care of business. So I don't know yet, which is a very good reason for you potentially to consider subscribing to my channel and turning on notifications, because next week, I don't know if I'll either have to just do the show a little bit late, put out a pre-recorded version, or heck, we may do it right on time at 7:00. It kills me not to be able to commit to it, because y'all know how much I love doing the show, but I just don't know yet until I get a few schedules hashed out, people coming in from out of town, things like that. But we'll do something if at all possible next week. So if you're subscribed and your notifications are turned on, you'll be among the first to know when I pop up on the screen. And who knows what Big Brother rumors and hints and suggestions may be going on at that point in time, because we're getting right there to that time of the year. It's going to be great. All right, guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. Enjoy every bit of it. Be safe. I will see y'all hopefully next Monday in some form or manner. Any questions, anything you got, send a DM to me, and we'll cover as much as we can. So again, SKD143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all you guys as well. Y'all have a great week, and I will talk to y'all before too much longer. Cheers, guys. Have a great one, and gig 'em Aggies.